Hello and welcome. Welcome to our festive series. Gee, the weeks are going. We started with 12 weeks to Christmas. Even if you don't do Christmas, these crackers are something that you can have every day of the year. I find that I do them on my planning day, on when I prepare my food for the week. I always check to see where I am at with my crackers. I know, where is everybody coming in from today? Let us know, and let us know what time it is. Here we are at 6:30, well, we're a little bit past 6:30 now by the time I set it all up. So we're 6:30 in the morning in lovely sunny Queensland, and the sun's out and the birds are chirping. It's a beautiful time of the day. So when we say crackers, somebody sent me a little message and they had a little photo of one of these, and they said to me, you know, that's a cracker. Well, here we call this a bonbon. So, you know, everything gets called. So it's like a little biscuit, and it's very savoury. So here we have what we're going to make today. And you can make these as thin or as thick as you can even make them as a bread. There's just so many things that you can do, and they are just so tasty and lovely to have on hand, like especially over the festive period. If you have somebody pop in, you can always add these to like a cheese platter. You can use them as a little snack. You can use them even mixed through or on top of a salad. It depends on those ones there in this little container are done a lot thinner, so they are like a little crunchy cracker, whereas these ones a little bit thicker, and this is the way that I prefer them. You can use little star cutters so that you've got them into your little Christmas shapes, or you can just do them like this. You've seen in the photo that I had when I was advertising our cracker coming to the festive period, that I had them in a big heart shape so that you can make them bigger and use them more as like as a piece of bread, like as a sandwich. So let's get going with them. Is everybody all tuned in? Are we ready to go? Let me know. Are we all ready to go? You've all come in. I've just been chatting there while everybody comes. So there's no real set recipe. You just it's a little technique, that's all. It's just a process. I know some people like to have a set recipe, but with these you really don't. But if you worked on 2 cups of sauerkraut, so if we worked on about 2 cups, now I'm using a sweet potato sauerkraut. So this sauerkraut has got your layer of cooked sweet potato in there, so that gives it nice bulk. So you work about 2 cups. Now you can use kimchi. There's any fermented vegetable. Try not to mix too much of your fermented veggies, so otherwise you can end up with a different flavour, but this just gives a beautiful flavour. One of the nicest sauerkrauts that I've found when I've made one of these was actually the Christmas sauerkraut that had the cranberries in there, and the cranberries just give it a lovely flavour. But we'll go on with that when we get to the different types. So 2 cups of sauerkraut. Now a cup of fresh vegetables, what I use is the pulp. Now when I'm saying pulp, this is pulp that was left over from my juice that I made yesterday for Thierry, my son's afternoon snack that he had with his afternoon tea when he came home from school. So in here is the pulp from the carrot, apple, and there's some fermented ginger and turmeric that was all put through my champion juicer. So that's the pulp, and it's really wonderful to use because it's all broken down, it's all mashed up, and it's a good way of using your pulp, and it gives it lovely flavour too. So you would work on 2 cups of kraut, 1 cup of pulp, or if you don't have pulp, if you're not into making juice, you could just have some shredded, like some grated zucchini or grated carrot, or even a little shredded apple through there. That would be nice. So just work on that as a cup. Then I like to put some of my fermented leek. That's my fermented leek, and there's some little fermented garlic in there and some garlic tops. Now, if you don't have a supply of fermented garlics and leeks and garlic tops, just add a salad onion. Just add up a nice fine salad onion and cut that up and pop that in there, so that gives you that mix. Then we're going to add some popped buckwheat. I call it popped because I have soaked it in your milk kefir overnight. So this is your little buckwheat. This is a staple in my kitchen, and that's what I do. I just soak it in the milk kefir buckwheat grounds and then just rinse it off in the morning, and that stores in the fridge. And see, they're really soft, just softens them up, but it pre-digests them. That's the idea of it. But because they're soft like that, it's really great because you don't have to worry about them being crunchy and things. But what it's really lovely for too is, especially at Christmas time, you can make like a bircher muesli, and you can use that as your base, and you can add like your berries and some nice shredded apple and cinnamon, and you can put through some like a nice thicker like coconut yogurt. That's a beautiful bircher. But yeah, you've got this, you have some of this in your fridge. You can even just use it as a snack, and you can fold it through like your salads. Sometimes I just eat it by the spoonful. It's so lovely, and it's easy to digest, as I said. So with your buckwheat, about a half a cup of that you would mix through. So we've gone 2 cups of sauerkraut, a cup of pulp, and a salad onion, and a half a cup of popped buckwheat. Then into that, we then want to add something like about a half a cup of a soaked flour. You could use any type of flour. Now what I'm using today is my very own green banana flour that I make myself, and that's a prebiotic. So that's good to add with your probiotics, because the prebiotics are your fuel. They're like the fibre. So they're the fuel for your probiotics to get them all moving through. So this is just a wonderful little mix. And I've put some hemp in mine as well. So in there I've got some hemp and the green banana flour. This has not been soaked. But if you were using something like, you could use like your own almonds, you could soak up some almonds or some macadamias and make it into a meal just by just grinding it after you've soaked it. Or you could just put it in chunking and blitz it all together. That would be fine as well. So we've gone 2 cups of sauerkraut, 1 cup of pulp, 1 salad onion, half a cup of the buckwheat, and half a cup of a flour. Oh, that smells beautiful. The green banana flour's got that most beautiful smell. Then we would you could add some seeds, like just about a third of a cup of seeds, like something like a pumpkin seed, tiger nut, which is a seed, or something like a chia or a chia, so about a third of a cup of that. So just put those in. With the cranberry one, I love to add pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds and the cranberry sauerkraut is just a nice mix. Don't overdo it. Don't put too many seeds, and that's just a really wonderful mix. And then there's no need to add a lot of spice. It really doesn't need it. That sauerkraut just gives it that lovely flavour. You could add a few herbs, nothing too much. Here I'm just going to put a sprinkle of my dried dill that's come out of my garden, and that's it. That's really enough. It's just such a great mix. Now, because you've got chunks of all that cabbage through there, if you wished, you could, because they will stay big in there, you could put that through, like if you've got like a Thermomix for the Thermi people, you could put that through. Don't make it too. So you want to keep it. You don't want it like slop. So to me, that's fine like that. But you can, or you could just chop up that sauerkraut too, so that it's sort of smaller pieces. Now we're going to mix that onto a tray. So we've got a dehydrated tray. Excuse my noise here. You'll just pop that all onto your tray. Something that I didn't put in there, now I just moved that, was my fermented garlic. I love to add fermented garlic, so that you just pound some fermented garlic in there, but I do have the garlic in in with those onions. But just some fermented garlic, even a little tiny bit of fermented ginger or turmeric is nice to add. But I've got the turmeric in with the onions. So then it just gets pressed all into your tray. Now you would have blended that really well and truly up, like blend it in with a food processor. Now we're just going to press that all into a tray. And if you've got a dehydrator, put it on nice and low and dehydrate it for 8 to 12 hours. 8 hours is normally good. It just depends on how thick you're going to do it. If you've got a solar dehydrator like we use out in the sun, it can, depending on how lovely and sunny a day it is, it normally takes a day out there. With the dehydrator, you can, especially the solar one, we often make this mix, do it bigger and do it into like bartins so that it's like a bread, and that's really, really tasty, and it really stores well. Now you've got to make sure the moisture's all out if you're not going to be storing them in the fridge, because otherwise it will go mouldy. But I always make sure that it's dried right to dry stage so that it's firm and there's no moisture left in there. But if you do have moisture left in there, you will have to store it in the fridge. So that just keeps getting pressed into your tray. Now, if you don't have a dehydrator and your oven goes down to a really slow temperature, I mean ours goes right down to 35. So, but you know, you could put it into at a low, like under 50, and cook it in the oven, and that will be fine. But it'll take again about a good 8 hours. So yeah, you can put it on and go off to bed, and they will cook on. So that needs to be all as even as possible. And I'd take out all those chunky bits, because those I would have blended. I'm going to take this out and blend it as soon as I'm finished. I'm just giving you the idea of it. Then you can get a ruler and just put your ruler there and a pizza cutter and mark out your lines, and just go through and do that and line them out, and then you've got your crackers. So how easy was that? And I can tell you the taste, it is just wonderful. And how to serve it? Well, there's so many ways that you can serve it. You can imagine that you would put it with a little bit of toppings. I mean, you can just use it like that and have it and dip it into a dip, like, dip it in like that. That's just perfect. That, if you're wondering what that dip is a hummus, and added into there for a little bit of colour and flavouring is your beet kvass, which makes a lovely colouring, especially for Christmas. So you could just use that as is, or you could top it with anything. I mean, in the fermentation world, we've got the salsa, which is one of the easiest ferments to make, and it's so quick, and the taste is just beautiful. Even people that aren't fermented sour eaters, they always love this. So a little bit of salsa could go on top. And then we could top it with what we made last week, a little bit of cheese. In this case, I've got the coconut cheese. It's got a little bit of oil in there, and a little bit of herbs, and a little bit of fermented garlic. So how tasty is that? Then to top it up, to give it a little bit of Christmas colour, because we've got red there in the salsa, is a little bit of this is like a lape toe. And lape toe, if you're not familiar with, that's fermented tea leaf salad. In place of tea leaves here, I've used my lemon myrtle, and that just finishes it off so nice. So there you've got your cracker. You're ready to go. You're ready to eat him. So how quick it is. So when you're using your combinations, like I said, the cranberry, the Christmas ones, these are our Christmas sauerkrauts that we made, going back in in our week 2 when we did all the Christmas. They're coming along nice. Remember with the citrus with the orange slices? See how those orange slices creep their way up? That's why it's very important to have them right down the bottom. That had all the cinnamons and nice little spices, and the cranberries. That's a beautiful flavour. And I came across that by accident. I had a little bit left over from Christmas, and I was making my crackers, and I used that sauerkraut, and the cranberries in it was just superb. With a little, as I said, some pumpkin seeds. So some pumpkin seeds added to that mix in your crackers was just lovely. And you can even put things like your infusions, like your honey infusion, like that, instead of using like the fermented in brine garlic. This is the garlic that's infused in honey. So that's really nice with that cranberry mix and a pumpkin seed. And just that you can even add a little bit of the actual honey itself, this little dash through there. That gives a lovely flavour. So if you wanted to make them really gold, like that one's thrown more the orange because of all that pulp, the carrot pulp that was in there. But you could use like a sauerkraut that's got turmeric. That was going back to those sauerkrauts that we made. That was the fennel and the turmeric sauerkraut. See how the colours are all starting to change? And then we had the apple sauerkraut that we made. Remember with the half a green cabbage and the quarter of a red cabbage and an apple and some ginger and turmeric. So you can see all the colours are starting to change. It's still not ready. It's still got some bubbles coming up, and you look at the little stars. See all the colours starting to go together. So that apple sauerkraut is lovely in your crackers too. And then, like I said, you don't need to add too much other things, because you're like, especially spices and that, don't go overboard. So it's 2 cups of sauerkraut, or you could, if you wanted a spicy cracker, you could use 2 cups of kimchi, 1 cup of pulp, we'll say 1 salad onion if you don't have your fermented leeks, half a cup of your buckwheat that you've put in. Now there's no need with your buckwheat to pop it as such. We call it popped buckwheat, because what we do is we soak it in the milk kefir and then we put it into the dehydrator to pop it. But that's only to store it for long periods, or if you want to grind it into a flour. In this case, there's absolutely no need. So just an overnight soak in your kefir, and that just makes it nice and soft and nice and digestible, and it'll mix through lovely. So half a cup of that, and half a cup of a flour of some type, or that can be a nut that's made into a flour, or in my case I use the green banana flour and a little bit of hemp seed that I made into a flour. So, and then you can even add a little bit of flax if you wanted to, but not up to the half a cup, just a little bit of the mixture in with that. Then 1/3 of a cup of a seed, like in our case we used the chia or chaya, however you want to say it. So we put those little seeds in there, and just a little tiny bit of the dried dill. And that's your crackers. And they're so easy. And they'll store, and they're tasty, and you've always got something to snack on. And it's a great little snack. There's just so much you can do with it. So we'll talk soon. We'll see you in our next series on next Friday. Have a wonderful day and a beautiful weekend wherever you're coming in from. Any questions, do let me know, because I'm here to answer them for you. Love and bacteria.